When I was standing on the podium with the team, but also with individual second, I was so happy, first of all with the medals, but also happy that I was capable to make a top plan for that day, not the day before or not the day after, that day. Biggest mistake often is going to be made that the people want to go too fast. The horse doesn't understand, the rider doesn't understand. Then the trainer starts shouting and the rider gets scared So keep it simple, but go forward.
Hello everyone, today we have a really special guest here at Clackcast, Piet Raijmakers. It's a great name in the equestrian world. Team gold and individual silver medal at Barcelona 1992. With the, medal of the century, the well-known Ratina Z. Yesterday he was officially announced as the new coach of the Brazilian show jumping team. We are sure that it will be a really good contribution, and we are really thankful to have you here at Clackcast. So thank you very much for talking to us.
No problem. I'm happy to be here.
Well, you actually came to Brazil to administrate a clinic, a course. What has been your impression so far of the Brazilian riders?
Well, to be honest, I know them nearly all. Let's say those who are doing international. My impression was from the first day, and the first day is like 50 years ago, from when Nelson Pessoa came over to Holland. My impression was more of wow, he was a very modern rider that day, and he still is, but that is a long time ago. But nowadays, Brazil has horse people, they have horse people, riders with nature instinct, and then, you can make a good team. Yeah.
Fantastic. We'll get to the team and what you think and the plans for the future in, a little while from now. But first of all, I want to know some about you. Like, where did you begin? When? How? We all know Ratina Z for the name. We all know about the medals. But it doesn't start with, the story doesn't start with a medal in the Olympic Games. So how does it all started?
It started with a boy from 4 years old who wanted to be a cowboy.
Okay.
Though I tell you, it's true. At home we have a little farm. It's the home where I live now. I'm number 6 from 9 children.
All right.
I have 4 brothers, 4 sisters. And at home we had 1 horse for working, like a cold blood was working for my father. And it was my father's best friend, the horse. And later, when I was 5 or 6 years old, we became a pony, but we have to put him in front of a little wagon to bring the milk cans to the cows. The pony was not for riding, the pony was for working. And then in our village came some younger people, like 18, 19 years old, and they wanted to start a pony club.
Okay.
And because we had a pony, and I was always sitting on the pony without saddle, running around, playing cowboy and doing stupid. And
saddle free.
From
when to when?
From to be honest, I think from 6 till 12, 6 till 11, I was member of the pony club, but I had no saddle. So the last 2 years, my father bought on a market. He bought a girth with 2 stirrups.
Okay.
And then I thought, now I'm never going to fall off again. But that was not true. So that's a little bit the beginning, But in that time already, because I was a little bit like cowboy and Indian, many people asked me to sit the first time on their pony. So they were holding the pony, and I went on the pony, and the pony was booking and doing stupid. But I didn't fall off, I was wild, I had long hair, I was really wild. And so I was, let's say, local, a little bit famous, that I could...
You could stay on a pony?
Yes, I could sit on a pony and make them rideable. And at home I had to work with the cold blood, but I also liked to work with the horse from my neighbor. So when they had very boring work to do, like up and down, on the land, plowing or cultivating, they asked my father, "Can Piet?" And then my father didn't even ask. Yeah, he can. Always because it was with horses. So I was walking all day behind the horses. And then in the evening, sitting on the pony, doing stupid, and so that. And then I went to the technical school, and my birthday is 29th of September, so I'm always the youngest in the class. And I left school when I was 14. I was finished with the technical school.
Okay.
On Friday I went for a diploma, And on Saturday I started as a help of a blacksmith.
All right.
But those days it was different than now. Those days the people went with the horse to the blacksmith. Yeah, so I was working at home and we were also repairing water pipe and we were repairing the wheel of it, whatever. We did everything. And I worked there for 3 years, shoeing horses. And then in those 3 years we changed. So we became like a mobile blacksmith.
Mobile blacksmith, yeah.
So we went to the people. We went to the riding school in Aster. And there they saw me back because there they started the pony club. And then they said, Piet, if you want, we have a horse for you to ride. Okay, it bites and it kicks, but I think it's a good horse for you. And the owner, if you can manage, the owner, you can go to shows. Those days, 15 years old. I tell you, this happened. This really happened on the day that I became 15 years old. So the people asked me to sit on the horse. I managed to sit on the horse. Coming out of that winter, so the horse became 3 years old, I was jumping 130 classes. Not
with a 3-year-old.
3 years old, I can show you. But not knowing that was not normal. I did for me. So and then, let's say at the end of the winter, there's a province championship, and I went to the championship. And then they say to me, "How old is your horse?" So I think I'm very proud. I said, "It's 3 years old." He said, "You can go home. You're not allowed to jump 130 with a 3 years old, But I didn't know, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But winning a lot with that pony, because that horse, to be honest, it's worth to tell, was such a clever horse. It was small, but at the end it was my best friend. I could do everything with. So I could put it down on the ground, and but I was always with that horse. Through that horse, I'm still looking now for such a clever horse. If I thought something, she did it. Some horses, they don't have that. But I know there is a horse like that. So every time I tried to find a horse that clever. I could do turns. I was thinking turn. She went inside. So I was very happy that we came together and that I understand that a horse like this. So even now I try to find a horse like that clever. And then let's say around the church in our village and then a little bit further, I became quite famous. And then another man, where we came actually as a blacksmith, he had a few jumping horses for himself. He was riding. He was an ex-Olympic water polo player.
Okay.
But he was big and strong.
I can imagine.
And he asked me and he said to me, "Piet, can you train my horses? And I'll pay you a lot of money." Those days, like serious money. But I was a snot nose. I was like 16 years old. So, yeah, okay. And my father said to me, "Piet, but you cannot make money with horses." I said, "No, but at the end of the month, I can give you a lot of money because in my house, my father explained me, he said, till 21, if you're going to work, you give the money, and what you make in the evening or your extra, you can keep. And if you go to school, I pay. So if you're smart, you go to school."
Of course, yeah.
But I was not so smart, so I still...
It depends on the point of view.
No, it's...
Story been told.
Yes. So I was riding the man his horses, or at training. I had I was a lot of teaching in Aster in my place on the riding school. So I started working and the horse jumping better and better. He was not a good rider, so now the horse was jumping better. Sometimes he was falling off. And then, for some reason, there was a show on Friday the 13th. I have no idea, but some people, they are afraid of Friday the 13th. So I asked him the day before, I said, "What about tomorrow? What time we go?" He said, Tomorrow. He said, "No chance." He said, I'm not even leaving. "Yeah, but I'm not training for nothing." He said, "Okay, if you want, you can go. You can." But I had no driver license, so I had to ask somebody else, and we went with 2 horses to the show. I was first and third in the big class, and first and second in the extra class. So I came home with 4 cups, 4 sticks, money. And he said, "What is this?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You bought." I said, "No, I didn't buy. I was winning." I said, "No chance." Because I jumped bigger than him. He jumped 120, I jumped 130. I had no chance. Yeah, and the driver said, "Yeah, but it's really true." So, long story short, then he said, "Okay, then we change. You ride, I drive the car." And there my international career started. Because he was like with the water polo team, he went all over the world. I had no idea about shows in England and shows in Germany. But he had an idea, he had a plan. So when I was 18 years old, I went to Austria, I went to Germany, I went everywhere, and with success, And how it started, it's how it started.
But I'm missing something, because, okay, first of all, you're a kid jumping, I guess, with a pony without saddle. When do you start the shows? With the pony?
No, never.
No
Never,
shows with the pony.
Never.
How come you realized that show jumping and that it was a thing?
Again, a long story. So the pony.
We have all the time in the world.
Yeah. So the little pony, it was a Shetland pony, but later, so this pony, we bought a new one. It was 2 years old. His name was Shadow. He was very shy, but he became a beautiful pony. And I saw at the riding school, because I'm very close, people jumping over fences. So I went without saddle at home on the pony and started to jump. First I started jumping over the milk cans, then on the milk can, 1 brick, 2 bricks, a single pole. But at the end I was jumping 140. And it was between the stable and some chicken stable, so the horse couldn't go left or right, he had to jump. And I was jumping. And at the end, I was jumping in the fields, I was jumping the ditches. And then one day, on a Sunday evening, we had the milk field, the cows, on the other side of the road. Then there was a show. And a friend of mine, he was eliminated with his horse. So after the show, he went back to try to jump, but his horse stopped. But I was there with my overall and with my brother to milk the cows. I said, if you want, I can go in front of you. He said, no chance, this is too big for you. I said,
bring me my pony.
So I took the pony out of the wagon, just with a long rein, hair like this, wild, we were wild, I tell you. And I jumped the whole course, and he was like, what is this? I said, the pony, later I sold it to Jan Tops. So,
all right.
Yeah, not directly, but he went to Jan Tops. So he became a top pony, but I had no idea about the top pony, So that's why people start talking, say, hey, he can ride. And that's why then later the people gave me the horse. And then I became
a horse rider.
Quite fast.
I can get a lot of will, I can imagine wild and with a lot of will. But how come you got the technique?
First of all, I was very lucky. So the owner of the riding school in Aste, in my village, he was an ex-Olympic eventing rider.
Right.
He was the one of them who started the pony club. So he saw me, and the horse was the one I was riding was in his school. So every evening from 7 till 11, I was riding 4 horses. So first my horse, not my horse, but the horse I was having, and then he let me ride every day 4 horses. So very quick I became in this system, what we are doing today, and he teach me, and he was a great horseman, So that's why it went so fast, I didn't have to discover. He told me every time when I was on this phase. Then he tell, okay, now next we're gonna do this. Next we're gonna do this. So every time, and then I had a very clever horse, so we could do very fast. Yeah.
Too fast, to be honest. Like today, it was gonna be.
Yes, but the horse who jumped at 3 years old, won 30 classes. When he was 17, he jumped still won 40 classes.
All right.
So he was sound as a rock.
Sound as a rock.
Because that days there was not every week show. So you had maybe.
Once a month.
Once a month, yeah.
I'm going to skip a lot of questions and ask you something, because I know that in Europe, the pony industry and the pony culture, it's really big. But in Brazil, we have none. We had a couple of years ago, we tried a little bit, but then it all stopped. Do you believe it's important, or what's the difference for kids to have smaller horses or ponies, or if you think that's important on building a rider career?
Yeah, I think so. It's very important, because a horse, it's most of the time too big for a child. They get scared. But if they learn everything on a pony, and then you need a good pony, not a 4 years old pony who knows nothing. No, you need a 20 years old pony to learn a kid how to do it, And these ponies you can buy, and you pay a little bit too much, but 5 years later you get the same money back, because the ponies they stay the same amount. So yes, it's very important, I think. And also, when you fall from a pony, you don't, you fall from 1 meter or 110 meter. You don't fall from 160,
So okay, back to your story. We are starting jumping the internationals with the water polo player. What's his name?
His name was Arnold Rolvink.
Arnold Roven. Do you believe that his former experience as a top sport person had influenced you somehow?
Yeah, absolute. Yeah, absolute. He was very serious, he was serious about being fit myself, He was very serious those days already about a good sport vet, Rob de Vink, for his horses. Rob de Vink already was one of the first top sport vets for horses, you know. So yes, I was very lucky in all these things.
You mentioned to have you've been really lucky to have a clever horse, to had a former eventing Olympic trainer, and this experience with the water polo person. But what do you believe it's necessary to become a high level competition and a high level rider and a successful career that you do not have to hope for luck?
Okay. First of all, you have to want it, you know. It's also the interest. It's not only the riding, it's the breeding. And you have to look, you know. I was always in the warm-up looking because I had, you know, I will never forget, I was winning already a lot of national classes, 140s. So I was invited, together with Wiel Heber and Frans van Herten, for a national training session, 3-4 days, in Zuidwolde. And we were trotting and doing like this, trotting and galloping. And then the man said in his own dialect, okay, now we're going to make a flying change, jumping 140, yeah? I said to Wiel Heber, what are we going to do? So I had no idea, you know, I had no idea about making a flying change, you know. So, and then the man said, can you not make a flying change? No, I have no idea. What is it? So then he explained. I said, but what you do after the fence? I go forward. You know, so can you imagine how simple, you know?
How simple it is, to be honest.
But of course, we had to learn flying change. You know, we have to. So I was all my life a bit lucky, you know, with people around me. It's not only luck, you know. It's like, first of all, I worked 7 days a week. I worked very hard, and I could get more results with normal horses than somebody else. So then my water polo owner said, Piet, okay, now you're champion of the Benelux, but you don't have a horse with all the scope. What are we going to do? So then I bought a horse very close to my village. It's called Ducal. And in 77, I jumped clear 225 in Dortmund with Nelson Pessoa, Miss Moet, Harvey Smith with Graaf, Hartwig Steenke Goya, and Frits Liges Genius, and me. But I jumped clear 225. That was a result that time. So I had a horse with scope, and I became member of the member of the team. And in 1980, I was qualified for the Olympics. But then it was 1980, and then the Olympics was Moscow. But Moscow didn't go on. But in 1980, there was a horse called Isocrates, and the horse, they gave it to me because it was a good jumper. But the rider was, okay, good enough, but you know, they want to know how good the horse is. So they gave it to me. They gave it to me on Monday and on Saturday, the same week. I was second in the World Cup in Antwerp after Hugo Simon, and I was qualified for the World Cup in Baltimore. So I went with the horse to Baltimore, winning the second class in Baltimore, became Dutch champion with the horse, went to Aken, went to Hickstead.
You sing like that, it sounds like just popped, you know? Things just happened.
It's true, it happened. It's true.
Because it is okay, you know. I went to look for a horse close to my city. Found a nice horse, affordable, I guess. Because then again, if you talk about today, to find a horse to jump the Grand Prix classes, it's not usually affordable. So yeah, I found a horse, and then I did clear to 225, and then someone say, "Hey, check on this horse," and then it was a Grand Prix horse. So things kept on happening.
Things kept on happening. Exactly. No, it's true. It's true because I tell you. So this happened 1980. In 1980, because that horse was a little bit famous that he did not jump. He didn't like the water. A family called me in 81. They called me Jo van Schijndel, the best man of the world, and his wife. They called me. They had a horse. It was called Marius, and he didn't jump water. They said, Piet, maybe can you ride a horse? Yeah. I said, but I have no space, so maybe you bring it on Friday to the show. So they bring the horse, they came with the horse to the show. I never sit on the horse, I sit on the horse, I win the class with water. On Saturday they came back, I win the class with water. On Sunday I win the final with Marius. So they said, Piet, can you take the horse home? Yeah, I take the horse home. This is now, this person, after 45 years, still my sponsor. I'm not riding from 2010, but they are still my sponsor. We still have horses together, and his son is sponsoring now my son.
That's fantastic.
How lucky you can be.
How lucky you can be, exactly.
Yeah.
You're saying like that, it sounds to me that your line of work, I didn't actually watch your class today, I couldn't get here, but I believe you have a clear line of work.
Yeah.
I can imagine that it's not too complicated or too elaborated or with a lot of... What would be your line of work? Like, what do you believe are the most important things on developing a horse and on developing a rider?
Both. That they understand what you mean. Because a horse, luckily they are clever, but they are not more clever than us, because then we were standing in the stable and they were walk around. But so you need a clever horse. But the biggest mistake often is going to be made, that the people want to go too fast. The horse doesn't understand, the rider doesn't understand. Then the trainer starts shouting, and the rider gets scared, So keep it simple, but go forward. Do many times little things and build it up. Of course, the training I had, I built it out. I made it bigger and more difficult, but that time it was not necessary. But now it's more technical and more careful, and I was always on the show. I could look how they do it. So if I had a horse problem, I was looking. But the answer on the question is how you teach. First of all, you give the people confidence, even if they are not superstar. But you try to find out what is the strong side of the person, what he can do. Yeah, and you have to teach him classic riding, walk, trot, gallop, why. You bend, you stretch, you do, and then you make him ready. And you have to explain. And the people at the end, they understand. And the horse, they like to do. So, that's the way I try to teach. Make it understandable for the horse and for the rider, till the highest level. That's the only thing you do.
Do you like teaching?
I like teaching, yes, a lot.
It was something that you developed, something that was born, something that you started doing when?
I started teaching, I think, when I was 21, 22.
Right.
But I had to, because I had some grooms working for me and I have to get money to pay them. But I liked, because people getting forward, they start in the 1 meter and the year after already they jump 120. So yes, it makes fun.
So Piet, what's the TPR team?
What is TPR? Team Piet Raijmakers is, let's say, my home, my sons, my granddaughters, my daughters-in-law, my granddaughter, yes, and the two little kids. We all work together. That means I'm 68 years old now, so they have their own business. So Piet Junior, he's a show jumper, has many horses to ride for himself, for different owners. His wife, she works in a big company. Joep is married to Leontine. Leontine is a dressage Amazone, and they have two children. And Joep is teaching a lot, Japanese people, Finnish people, Chinese people. Leontine is teaching a lot in dressage. We have also dressage horses. With Leontine together, we had dressage horses in Tryon, in Tokyo, in Herning, in Paris, but para dressage for handicapped people. So I had 4 horses everywhere, with Japanese riders. It's fantastic to do, to be honest, because they are fanatic and it's nice to do. So that is a little bit Team Piet Raijmakers, what we all do.
Do you still provide horses and find
Yes,
horses?
yeah. I also have own horses, and if I think it's a real good horse, I try to keep them. Yeah, because I enjoy a good horse.
What do you believe it's the importance of the mental aspect of the rider?
You can't win every day. You are as good as your last class. If you win today, you're great. If you fall off today, it's not good. So it's a little bit like this. It's and you have to understand that you are never finished work. You have to work 7 days a week, and you have to think already for half a year or for next year, or so you cannot do it half. No chance.
Well, there's now a big part of it, and I believe that's quite a story, or it should be. There's the one and only, the mid of the century called Ratina Z. How on earth did she come to you? What was she like? How did it happen? Because okay, last time we stopped the timeline. Yeah. You were jumping the big classes finally and made up for the World Question Games. Is that it? Until then, there was no Ratina.
No. It's true. I'll tell you a little bit of the life story.
Yep.
So from 2080 till 81 till 90, I had a riding school on the other side of our village, quite big. I was riding 25 horse for different owners, so I had a lot of work. Plus I was teaching, giving shows, so we were quite busy. And then there came a famous vet. He already came to my place. His name is Leo de Bakker. And Mr. Melchior from Zangersheide, owner of Ratina, he wanted to have Leo de Bakker. And Leo said, but I'm not coming if you don't have a good rider, because if you don't have a good rider, I cannot have good results. Okay, and then, so Leo came to me, said, Piet, maybe the next step in your life is, so again, I was very lucky. Yeah, so I went there, and okay, it took 3 weeks, but after 3 weeks, we agreed, and I went to Zangersheide, and this was the 5 most beautiful years of my life, you know. We were living there. Of course, Zangersheide was not mine, but Zangersheide is a...
Oh, you moved the whole family.
Everything.
And what happened with the riding school?
The riding school was not mine. I rented it.
All right, okay.
I rented it. So I went there. It took me 3 months to
settle
send the
down
horses,
and organize things.
Yeah, organize everything. So the first January of 91, I started.
So 25 horses sent back to the owners.
Yeah.
The riding school. So you gave up on this part of it. So go on a journey with the Zangersheide.
Yeah. That time I was like 35 years old, and at the end I was winning. I was winning a lot with any horse, but at the end you want to know how good am I on that day. So then I came to Zangersheide, and Ratina was that she was not famous. She was a freak, but not famous. You know, she wins nothing. There was a German rider, and he was trying, but it didn't.
How old was she?
She was 8, coming 9, and then I was sitting on her, and I jumped 2 fences, and I said to my wife and to my groom, I said, I sit on the best horse of the world. And they were laughing, but because I'm quite enthusiastic, you know. I said, again, but this time it's the best horse of the world. So we started. It was a difficult, she didn't believe anybody anymore, you know. And she couldn't gallop on the right because she jumped all her life loose on the left. So she really thought right is not good. So she was always going, she wanted to go that way. Luckily, I was old enough, you know, I was 35 years old. If I would have been 20, I would have been stupid. But luckily, I was old enough to stay quiet and to be smart and to work around the problems. And she became better and better. And first we went to a show in the north of Holland. But she was so strong that I said for the second round in the Grand Prix, because I was clear in the Grand Prix, I said, put a little bit more bit. And then she came back and the horse started to sweating and then my groom said, Piet, she doesn't like the bit. She's getting so nervous now. So okay, quick change. So I put back the normal bit in, and okay, we became 4th place, but she was jumping not normal. And the week after was Sertogenbos. And in Sertogenbos I went there with 3 horses, Riviera, Rintu and Ratina. And the whole week I had not one down till the World Cup, because I took the first distance, not knowing her so much, you know, but it was big, you know, but it was riding like a pony. You could walk the course, but you had no idea if you make 4 strides or 6 strides or she was going like this or whatever, you know. I had one down. But still I was like ninth place. And after that, I had her for 1.5 years till Barcelona. I was never out of the first 10 in the Grand Prix, not one time. She became more and more my friend. She was my best friend, you know. She was a crack, careful, you know, scope, more and more rideable. You know, at the Europeans, it was the last day I was in the lead till the last round, but then you know there was a combination and she went too fast, you know. She didn't take the time, so I had 2 down and I became 4th place individual. But I didn't mind, you know. I was so sure that it was the best horse of the world. And then between Christmas and New Year, I made a whole plan till Barcelona. Even 2 weeks later, I made a plan for her. Because the opposite from the most horses. She had to be in season on that show because then you could use your leg.
Okay. She would go a little bit quieter.
Yeah, she was a bit quiet. Yeah, and I did. I made a plan, and I was qualified for the World Cup final. It was in America. I said we're not going. We don't go this year. Only the Olympics. So I did a few shows. Then I went out. I want to peak in Capelle. I was winning. And then I wanted to peak in Arnhem. I was winning. Then I wanted to peak in Aken. And I did double clear in the Nations Cup. I said, it's enough. I know enough. So I went to the Olympics, and she did. That plan, the blacksmith, the vet, the everything took me a whole week, with transport and with everything to make a good plan. When I was standing on the podium with the team, but also with individual second, I was so happy, first of all with the medals, but also happy that I was capable to make a top plan for that day, not the day before or not the day after, that day. And I did it a few years later in 2006, the same with Curtis. He was not Ratina, not even close. But I had a plan, and everybody thought, yeah, but you have no chance with Curtis, no chance for the World Championship. But I stick to the plan, and just 1 month before, he started jump clear in Falsterbo, clear in Dublin, and he did very good in Aken. The last round, I fucked up, but we became world champion. Fantastic. That was the next step for myself, to help people to make a good plan per horse, per rider.
What do you take in consideration on making a plan?
That's per horse different, One horse has blood. You have to, that's difficult to say. You have to think like a horse,
I understand. It's just
no. You have to think. What is the best? How can I have the horse, the mind, and the body ready for that week? Yeah, you have to. One horse likes to go out, and one horse doesn't like to. He doesn't want to have a lot of pressure. The other horse, they like when you say exactly what they have to do, and the other horse, they like a bit freedom. So yeah, what is the best plan? Yeah, the best plan is it's different per horse and also different per rider actually. What they like the most. Yeah.
Right. Well, back to Ratina. How was this developing? So, what was Ratina's routine, and how hard? Because from videos, she just looks crazy hot.
She was, but she was not blind. It was between hot and blind is different. To hold in the beginning, I had 200 kilos in my hand. At the end, I couldn't feel my arms. She was so strong. But on the other hand, every day really she trusted me more. And I was lucky that Mr. Melchior, he understand because he was riding himself. He understand that this horse needs a little bit of special treatment. So I was very busy with her. So in the morning, like 7 o'clock, she was in the walker for half an hour because we were cleaning the stables. Then she came in. Then we quick had a breakfast, and then after breakfast, my groom was lunging her, and while she was lunging her, I was riding Rinnetou because these two were always together. And then we put her in the stable, the two. I rode 1 or 2 other horses, and then we start lunging Rinnetou, and I start riding Ratina. And that was the morning program. Then after lunch, we put her like 20 minutes in the walker so she warm up, and then they can go in the field. And they were in the field for 1 hour, big field, eating grass, and they were like a twin. They were always next to each other. Then they came in, they had hay and some rest, and then in the evening, we were hacking out sometimes 1.5, 2 hours, just to get
every day.
Every day, yes.
That's insane.
No, luckily I had the chance to do it, and more, in the beginning she was running in the field because hacking out she was afraid of everything, but at the end she was walking with the long rein, boom, boom, boom. She liked it. Like I said, it took me 3/4 of a year to gallop on the right, but that I trained in the woods because there is beautiful woods and you have long roads from sand. So she was galloping on the left, and then she changed to the right, and then 200-300 meters, and then suddenly she realized she get nervous, and then I go back, and I didn't do it again. And then even on the lunch in the morning, no chance. She was galloping on the right, but always outside gallop, always. But more and more she started to do normal. Yeah? And then at the end, it was not really a problem anymore.
It's quite something to realize and to have that feeling so that you apply this much of special dedication on a horse. Do you believe that this is up to date? Because today the feeling that I've got is that many riders have 20 horses on the stable, so sometimes if a horse as good as her shows up, sometimes you just miss it.
Yeah, of course it was a crack, but I don't think nowadays those riders they miss it. I think like King Edward or so. I think he gets whatever he needs. So I think there's nearly one groom for that horse. You understand?
But he was a horse that has been brought up quite nicely. It's different from Ratina that it was crazy and just said, okay, she might be really good. And you put a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you get, if you get to your son a horse that it took 4 months so that he can gallop actually on the left hand?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. So I believed in the horse day and night, so I never doubted one day. And she never gave me a reason that I was doubting about her, She was strong, she was stable, and she wanted to do the job. So the only thing what I had to do is to tell her on a nice way that she understands what to do. But it took a long, it didn't take a long time because the results were there, but it took, let's say, not till Barcelona, but till the next year that she completely trusted me, that she was, when I was working her, she was relaxed and she knew what was coming because I did nearly every day the same. In the beginning she was so nervous, whatever I was asking, she was, But now at the end, she was happy and she was perfect in the transport. So she knew my groom, she knew me, so she was not nervous anymore. And of course, but she was ready for going, so I have to calm her down by work a lot and give her confidence. Yeah, nowadays it's nearly impossible to put so much time in one horse because then you say, no chance.
You said that you were lucky but you said that you're lucky that you were 35 when you found her.
Yeah.
What do you believe was the most important lesson you had that managed and made you capable of getting her to the right sweet spot?
The most important was a man. His name was Piet Raijmakers. He was an eventing rider, and I was as a help of the blacksmith. We did his horse, and he always said, those days already. Yeah, now I'm talking more than 50 years ago. He said, Piet, the only thing with horse who makes horses good is time. And every time I thought about it, because he would win the most heavy eventing show in England that day. So he told me time you put in a horse makes the horse good, not 20 minutes per day, no chance, So you have to, especially with a good horse, you have to put time in it, think what he like, what can we do better, how can we make her stronger, physic and in the mind, train things, do things over and over on a nice way, not 100 times, but do it till she does good, finished. And that I think is that makes a horse good for a long time.
Time.
Yeah.
Time's quite a good secret.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, in 1992 at the Olympics, you got second place as individual, and the one who won was actually Ludger.
Yes.
And after the show, after the Olympics, he wanted to buy Ratina.
Yes, because he was winning the Olympics with Classic Touch. And he knew that Classic Touch, after Olympics, would go back to the son of the owner. So he knew. So he was so happy with the medal because he knew that he was have to give the horse back. And then we were in Calgary. Ludger came to me because I know Ludger very well. And he said, Piet, what about Ratina? I said, yeah, it's for sale. I said, listen, so and so. The deal didn't go on. Because, I said, and for how much? I said, this was 2 million. German marks those days was a lot. Huh? Okay. I said, can I buy? Yeah. I said, Piet is the horse. I said, Ludger, I am your guarantee. And I said to him, I said, listen, you have to buy here from Mr. Melker. Melker was in Calgary. In front of everybody, Ludger said, Mr. Melker, how much you ask for Ratina? He said, 2 million. Ludger said, it's sold. So Mr. Melker, what? It's sold. Done. So he couldn't go back, He never thought that Ludger would say, okay, I want to try. And he said, it's sold. Poof, finished. And then the next day, Mr. Melker made a huge contract. The horse is called Ratina Z. You never can change the name Ratina Z. There's only one rider who can ride Ratina Z. It's only Ludger Beerbaum. Nobody else is allowed. And things like this. But Ludger, his sponsor was Mr. Moxel. Mr. Moxer was a strong person. He said, Luther, you can sign. I can break any contract. So that is how Ratina went to Luther. And I was very happy because, first of all, Luther is, for me, is one of, let's say, the top 5 of the world, whenever, all my life. And his groom, Marie, was the best friend of my groom, Yvonne. And they were always together, so they know the horse, and she could not get a better rider. And of course, Luther in the beginning was difficult, because she was Germans. They like control. I like freedom. That was a different. But of course, at the end, perfect. They had such a good match, and he became European champion, world champion, Olympic champion. And with 17 years old, she was still jumping Ake. Fantastic. The day she said goodbye.
We have this conversation quite a lot here in Clarkcast, especially about professional riders. When to sell, why to sell, and sometimes if the horse is not yours, it's a client or whatever, if you have a say in it. Because I cannot imagine that you, Piet, wanted to sell Ratina.
No chance. No,
that was something from Melchior?
That was something from Melchior, and he explained me, because Zangersheide was a business in Belgium, and it cost a lot of money, those days, because now it brings money, but that time it cost money. So I understand. And of course, I regret every day that the horse has been sold, but I was happy for the horse. The horse, had the best rider of the world, the best groom of the world, and I was helping in the beginning a lot. And I'm still happy that I had her for 1.5 years, because otherwise maybe Piet Raijmakers was not the person I am now, So it was sad, but I don't regret. I was happy for everybody.
That was
92. Like autumn 92.
2025, 33 years old. Ratina was very different from the horses back then, shape-wise. She was not a heavy horse, she was light and modern.
She was not a heavy horse, but she was strong, she was very stable. The only thing what made her was the intelligence and the blood. She had so much blood, so much go, that she didn't even think about, I cannot jump that fence.
Sometimes when I watch classes from back then, I cannot picture those horses jumping today classes. Today, the sport has become real light, real fast. Yeah. Do you believe Ratina was a horse for the future?
Absolute. Ratina she was far in front of the time those days, and she would now even better than that, because she was more careful, not possible, faster, not possible. So, and you could turn her from any turn she could jump. She had somewhere an extra gear to jump the fence. No, she even would be better now. Yes.
Saying that, how have you been seeing the developing of the breedings and the horses and the riders and stuff?
Changed a lot. Those days you had, like you said, but not Ratina, but those days you had big, heavy, powerful horses, strong ones, not horses for girls. Sometimes bastards. They didn't want to go, but through the breeding and to the market, the selling market, people changed breeding. So they had, but like you said, 99% of these horses were not now no use anymore. It took years, but now you need quiet horses, not spooky, sound, very rideable, very light, and it depends a little bit. It's per country a little bit different. In Holland, we really try to breed because we are sellers. We produce and we sell. In Belgium, they have jumpers. But if the horse doesn't jump, it's difficult to sell because it's not a modern horse, a bit strong and a bit this. And the same in France. They have scope, but it's a bit per country. And France has good horses. Belgium has fantastic good horses. Germany has good horses. So the horses totally changed, yes. They totally changed, more rideable, more light, more correct, in the fundament. Yes, it's a big change,
Fantastic. Well, talking finally a little bit about your relationship with Brazil. First of all, welcome. hope. I think and I believe there's a lot of work to do ahead. What is your feeling on it, and what do you think about this new phase? And why Brazil?
Again, it happened. I was it. No, yeah, look, 100%. Two things. I was with the old Neko, and Neko had a girl, nice girl from Belgium training, and I was there with a Japanese rider, which normally my son trains, but my son has to go with another girl to another show. So he said, "Can you go?" Yeah, I go, no problem. And the first day we were together in the warm-up. Neko, 89 years old, but still, he wants her. It's not. And he was training the girl and helping, and we were together jumping. And the girl went in, and we were after the girl. And the girl didn't say anything on number one, and the horse he jumped number one, and he stopped at number two. So he said, "Piet, what do you think?" I know Neko and a little bit story. When Neko came to Europe, I was like, it was unbelievable the way he rode. Those days everybody was riding like this, and Neko rode very light, very modern. So there, I said, let the girl come. So the girl come, and I said to the girl, "Listen, with all respect, in the warm-up I could see perfect what you were telling your horse. In the ring you told nothing." So the horse, he thought, "I think I have to jump number one, but number two. Yeah. So you have to tell." I said, "But if you want, I can help you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, in the other warm-up." He said, "Oh, yeah, I like it." Was a really nice person. And so I helped the girl, and then Neko and I, we were doing in the warm-up, and she was clear on Friday. On Saturday, I think. And on Sunday morning, she was placed. And Neko came to me and said, "Piet, are you still fit?" "Yeah, I'm fit, yeah." "How old are you?" I said, then I was 67. He said, "Maybe I have a job for you." "Oh, yeah, okay. Call me whenever, And then, after Paris, Rodrigo calling Erik van der Vleuten. But Erik already for 50 years, my friend, my best friend. "Erik, can you do Brazil, or do you know somebody for Brazil?" Erik said, "Rodrigo, I cannot do Brazil because I have an agreement." He said, "But I know the best person for you, Piet Raijmakers." "Ah, my father also says so." Okay, so then Rodrigo, straight away he called me, and I know Rodrigo from this big, and we had much fun, and I was crazy about Balubé, so I was always watching, because he was such a good horse. So we know each other very well. So I said, "Rodrigo, yes, if it's going to be serious, I want to do." Yeah, so that's how it came.
Fantastic. Unbelievable, to be honest.
Lucky again.
Lucky again, too. What do you believe it's the role of the coach? What is your job?
My job is to make them understand that we need the 4 best riders and the 4 best horses in a top form on the most important shows, on a world championship. That's my job. But you cannot do that from home. You have to go to shows, you have to talk with the people, you have to make plans on time. Yesterday I was asking for all the telephone numbers, all the faces, because 90% I know, but some new people, girls, boys, I don't know. I want to talk with them all, because maybe they say, "But Piet, next year it's beautiful. Arc is beautiful, but it's come too early for me," or things like this. But the more early I start with them to talk and to make a plan, the more they trust the plan, So that's the main job. Yeah.
Every rider has you have your own system.
Yeah.
And every one of these riders, they're not systemless, they're not there's just, I don't know, suddenly I woke up in the morning and I was jumping the Grand Prix class.
No, for sure. They all have a system. And that's also here. I don't want to change them. I want to give them more. I want to help them, It's not my job to change anybody. My job is to help, to help eventually with the planning, to help eventually to talk with the owners, to say, "Listen, maybe this year it's short, but if you stick to the plan, next year you have a real chance to be in the top, Because some people they want too short, because not every owner is a horse person.
Of course.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you explain them correctly, then for sure they understand. Things like this. It's not only the horse that you have to do. There are many aspects which you have to deal with. But I'm old enough to see the situation. That's why I have to start to talk with the riders, give them confidence. For me they are all equal. You have to work hard. Show me what you want. Already show me what your plan is, where you want to go, and in that I can help. So that's my job.
Fantastic. And now, what are the next steps for, like, what is the plan?
Very short step is that in 2 weeks I will be in Wellington, and I will look at the riders there from Brazil who are going to jump at the end of February the Nations Cup in Wellington, the 4-star. And maybe in between, I'm going to be with the riders who are in Europe. I go to the Grand Prix. That's my job, to see them and to, the most of them in Europe I know very well actually. So that's my job till now. And luckily this year there is no qualification for anything. So this year you don't have to prove me that you have a good horse. I can see. So if you have a good horse, we make a plan for next year.
Now we are finally again with the sanitary frontiers opened, so we can actually take horses from Brazil to Europe and back and forward easier than before. And with that, we might have some Brazilian riders going overseas to some tryouts.
Yes.
What was your experience with the riders here? And how, it's a hard question, but how far behind do you think Brazil is from Europe?
It's a good question, first of all. I don't think we are far away from any country, The only thing is that we have to make a good plan. First of all, we have many good riders, and we have also, even here in Brazil, good breeders and good owners. So the only thing is that maybe that they're going to be surprised when they are going for the first time to Europe. They say, whoa! But that takes only a few shows. So you don't take them the first show to Ake, So you take them to some 2-star, 3-star, nice 3-star Nations Cup, and then we have a good feeling, we build it up. So that's, but it would be nice, because there at the end next year is the World Championship in Ake. So we have to be. So yes, I need riders, but first I have to explain them why and how.
Will you keep track of the what is going on in Brazil, or you will be mostly based and watching what's going on overseas?
No, I think it's necessary that I'm going to be a lot of times here, to motivate these riders. Otherwise, they feel them a little bit left alone. You know what I mean? I don't want, because I know the feeling. When I was young, it was a different story, but I really want to go to international shows, and they didn't give me a chance because they were entering for one weekend 3 different shows. I was very young, I was like 18, but no driver license for the truck yet. And there was a show in Austria. So you have to do 2 borders. Every border took nearly 12 hours those days. And I really wanted to go. So I called the federation because I entered together with my friend. And they said, no, Johan Heinz and Henk Noor, and they go. Yeah, but it's also Paris and Dublin. This is a 5-star those days, like a top show. And they also entered for that same weekend. They cannot go to all 3 shows. I should shut up. But that was not correct. So those days you had the telephone on the wall, you had to, and I had to find, at the end I found the man who organized the show in Austria. And I explained to him the situation. I said, listen, can I come with my friend to your show? He said, Piet, I'm very sorry. He said, because Henk Noor and Johan, he said, but they are not coming. They're not coming. Because they also entered Paris and they also entered Dublin. He said, I will call you back. So I was waiting at home. And then 5 minutes later, the president of the federation called me and said, Mr. Raijmakers, what are you doing? You are calling the shows yourself. I said, yeah, but if you can explain me that they can go in 1 week to 3 different shows, you're Jesus to me, I said, but for sure they don't go to Austria, but they wait that long that we have no chance to go anymore, and I want to go. I was hot, and he said,
wild.
Yeah, and he said, those days, he said you should, no chance. I called the newspapers because I was always very good with the press, I said, I will call a journalist and you can explain why I cannot go. Poof. The same moment, Peter Nadetsky from the show called me and said, Piet, I sent 2 private invitations for you and Will Heber. You can come, and the other ones cannot come. So And that's how it started, So it was not always luck. I was also fighting for myself. That's also a little bit, you have to be, you don't give up. You same as a chef d'équipe. So you don't give up. You don't say, okay. No, you want the best.
Fantastic. Well, Piet, I want to thank you very much for your time. I think it's glad to learn and listen from a little bit of story. And I wish you the best of luck with the Brazilian team. We'll be all cheering for you. I'm not sure how much of Brazil you know, but if there's something that we are is passionate. And I believe you're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll be cheering for you all the way. For you and, of course, for our own country and riders. So thank you very much for your time and best of luck.
Thank you very much. And I hope, like you said, I hope for good results. Then we can have real fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
O ClackCast é uma produção livre da 2Clack. Esse episódio foi apresentado por João Marcum e teve roteiro e edição por Isabela Campedelli.